I do believe we are live.
We are live.
So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining us again
Thanks,
on another
guys.
day. Adam is in stream. This is the Adam stream. This stream wouldn't have been if we didn't learn some level of acceptance. Today's stream topic is about acceptance, and unfortunately, on our way here, we knocked a little rock,
Hit a bump,
hit a
quite
bump.
literally.
It cracked the sump, the little
Oil sump.
oil sump, the thing holding the oil in the engine. Like, fortunately, we caught it leaking before he actually left, and now we're running through the process of getting it fixed. He was supposed to be on the road right now, driving to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I should have been home in half an hour actually.
How about that, dude?
Yeah. But here I am for a reason.
For a reason, for this moment.
For this reason.
For this moment.
That's
And like,
why I'm here.
we've been like, I mean, Joy Vive, she's not here just yet, but Joy Vive actually mentioned that she wanted to have like a proper stream with you, where you would join us and have a conversation. And like, we've been in a pretty reflective state, right? In a state of almost like accepting what just happened to us over this weekend.
There's been a lot to process.
You want to share some of the things that are like really sharp points that you have to like smooth over again?
Don't want to get too sharp. Yeah. I had a very interesting weekend. There was very interesting feminine energies around. Not that I really asked for them, but they ended up being there in any case. I had to accept, in the end I've accepted now, that we're all at that some part of our journey. We're all at a low, we all have our lowest moment at some point, right? Everyone has a lowest moment, right? Everyone has a place that they come from, that they're running from. So it allowed me to gain some perspective. I mean, when it happened, I was actually tripping pretty hard. I was in the hyperspace, so I couldn't really deal with it. But afterwards, acceptance. It's the only thing that allows you to move on. It goes hand in hand with forgiveness.
It does.
Actually. What do you think?
I agree. Like this conversation I just had with Dad before the yoga, I was just like, yeah, that's acceptance. The lesson is again, bro, because no matter how much we know, no matter how much we learn about how we're supposed to be interfacing, the wisdom we gain, you're gonna have to accept that some people won't understand. Some people won't.
We can't all understand.
Yeah, and like it's like this experience of like I'm trying to communicate something, and then I can literally see as the words come out of my face and reach him eventually. Like this, it disappears. Like the understanding disappears somewhere in the meanwhile, and then I can trip myself out about that, trying to understand it. And then, as you said, it's like almost like forgiving yourself with the acceptance thereof.
You come to terms with it, you know. I think you get to a point where you actually ask yourself, is it worthwhile spending more energy trying to fight this thing, or should I just let it be? Should I just let it be? Am I causing more problems by fighting right now, by trying to change it, or should I just let it be?
Like what you're bringing up in me right now is, as you started this, conversation with, is the whole feminine energy, right? That we do identify as masculine entities, and we want to solve problems, right? So the acceptance of a problem doesn't feel like the solving of a problem in a weird way.
No, that's a very good point actually. But maybe some problems can't be solved, and then accepting them is the only way to solve them.
Yes. Right.
I think it's maybe like finding that line.
Exactly. Tricking yourself into realizing that the acceptance of the problem is going to serve you more than the solving of it. Because in a weird way, with like my relationship with my dad, the solving of the problem would be me reaching the point. Pippi is like, come on, do that thing where you give me attention. Yeah. If I can reach a point where I can convince him to understand things the way I do, right? That would be the problem solved in my mind. But that probably won't get solved ever. At least not the way that I would like it to be solved. Not in the way that my ego would be satisfied with its acceptance thereof. So accepting him as he is, for who he is, loving him, right? For that person,
Regardless.
regardless.
That's him.
That's who he is. And like, you know what, like it's been echoing my mind? Christian's comment while we were tripping on mushrooms, where it was like, something I appreciate about you, Malt, is the fact that at least you know what you're getting,
Yes.
right?
I saw that the cogs turn
I was like,
when he
shit.
told you that. You were like,
I didn't actually interpret it that way, right? And I feel like we just mentioned, we were talking about this just before we started the stream, how me and my dad are very much the same person in different stages of life. And it's that, dude, right? Like my dad is also
you know exactly what you're getting.
Exactly.
And you love that with,
I know my dad.
actually with people.
Mm,
Even thinking about Zoe, you know what you're getting.
yeah, exactly. There's no confusion there about the person themselves. And like even within like bipolarity and stuff like that, right? Like we do have different states of being, but almost like echoing your point of something we're running from, right? That's something we're running from in a large way is like a root in our lives, something that also like anchors us into the story of ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm trying
Where
to
are we
think what
coming from?
what my story is, dude. I think my story or the thing I'm running from is depression or the lack of will to live. That's the thing I'm running from, dude.
Lack of will to live. Yeah. It's basically whatever is not present in your current situation, I guess. And I wouldn't say those are. Definitely not for you. For me, what am I running from? Attachment.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Attachment. Like, where do I belong? Am I here? Am I there?
Wanting to be attached while knowing that that attachment means that you don't get to have other things, and then not wanting to be attached, then realizing there's hurt to be had and not being attached.
It gets a bit hairy.
It is a bit of a, and I understand because I'm in the same way. Like the big thing for me is the whole relationship thing, where recently there was this show called Unstable, and it looks like a fractal of us having, you know, reached the level of success in business that we want to in our lives. I like met the love of our lives, you know, was married to her for 30 years, and then she dies, and then that breaks us as a person, dude. Because how do you cope with reality? How do you reattach to the rest of the world when for 30 years you've been so integrally attached to another person?
I think it's definitely like a part of you will die. You have to come to terms with that. I feel a little bit of hope for that situation as well. In a weird sense, like if you have had and lost, then that's memories. Those are the most valuable things. You spent your time correctly.
Yeah.
Nothing can take that away.
Exactly.
Disregarding like the current situation, whether that person is still with us or not, those memories are unchanging.
That's the right wisdom, dude. And it's hard in the moment to come to those conclusions because like it's an ego thing. Like I read this book called The Five Invitations by Frank Ostaseski. And something he said in that book that really struck me is that grief, in a weird way, can be selfish.
Yeah.
That your deep attachment and sadness to this loss is a selfish act, because how do you know that that death of that person isn't the best thing that could have happened to them in that moment? You know, when it comes to like transcendence of the physical form or whatever. And you, for instance, and he talks about it a lot, where there's people that sit with their loved ones on their deathbed. And then there's so much attachment there that the person suffering their own death holds on and suffers their death longer and longer. And
not even on the deathbed, like quite literally, but even with cancer and many things like that. It's like, should you continue to fight just for the sake of other people? And people do that.
Yeah.
Even though they suffer through it. And I've heard the story from people who've lost someone like that. They didn't know at the time, and they feel tremendously guilty because they were just keeping that person alive for them, they realize.
Selfishly.
Yeah.
Very selfishly so.
Absolutely.
And it's a thing of like acceptance again, right? Like Zoe wrote, I read as a poem last night, And a beautiful point she made is that we all learn how to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty surreal.
Yeah. That was
Because
profound, actually.
yeah, none of us want to die, but dying is inevitability of being alive. And we're gonna have to learn how to do that in the same way. I shared this message with her as well, that I kind of fascinate myself with how to live, right? How do I live well? How do I learn to live, right? Almost like it's a new thing to me. Like it's a new thing to all of us every single time we come back here.
Mm.
DNA conversation we had, you know, on the mushrooms as well is coming back to me. Like how that DNA knows how to be alive and has been knowing how to be alive for billions of years. And that information, you know, is a backlog in our minds. Let me read some comments and say love-ins. Joy V, so many friends are sending love to you. Susanna, Mojo's here too, sending you love. Natalie, thank you for joining us. Louisanna saying, Mel, Adam, Shan, Joe, Shan, Mojo, Joy V. Pippi is happy you're home. Did you give your mom a big hug? I did. I gave everyone big hugs. Pippi was like losing her mind for the first few hours I was home. Like she was like ceaselessly, give me more attention. Nancy, it's nice seeing you. Hi all. I had a couple of hard days last week. I have found resistance to physical and emotional pain makes it worse. Yeah. Especially the physical pain. Right? When you feel you're hurt, you know, your heart can hurt as well. Like the emotional pain actually
Transferring
registers.
to physical.
Yeah, to a physical pain.
That's an interesting sensation. Because you can't heal it.
Yeah, it's like
Like
it's
with the
just like your
plaster.
heart is hurting.
Yeah.
And it's again, you know, and this feels insensitive in a large part, especially from the masculines want to solve a problem well, satisfactorily, right? Like telling someone to, oh, you're feeling pain. Have you tried accepting it? Have you tried accepting your pain? And that's a conversation I had with Zoe as well last night, where she was telling me about her like scratching her foot on the stairs and then going to Twilight that weekend and then
Yes.
stomping and then it getting even more hurt, and how on the dance floor it's almost like pain in a weird way goes away,
Yeah.
right? Like there's less pain on the dance floor. And I
It's
don't know if
definitely like that.
if it's the music, if it's the space that's created, if it's the drugs. If it's,
Might be a bit
might
of.
be a little bit of the drugs.
Maybe a little bit.
But like she echoed beautifully how she does take pride in being able to accept pain, right? Being able to be in pain,
Not to
being in
reject
acceptance
it.
of it, not suffer it, right? Like I think that's the way I'm thinking of it. Like not suffer the pain, because suffering is wanting for things to be differently. If you're
Suffering
in
is a
pain,
mental condition, a mental state,
Exactly.
actually.
pain is like a signal to your brain, right? It's an input, and then the story you tell yourself about that input can cause you suffering,
Yes.
and then we end up suffering in here, you know, exponentially more than we do actually the
Physical.
physical.
Imagine if we had suffered as much on the physical as in here.
We would be
full of scars.
Yeah, scars, like
barely
bruises.
surviving. Like all of these scabs.
I'm seeing like machines breathing for us on the outside,
Missing
bro.
arms.
Exactly.
I'm dying.
Natalie says it's her birthday week. Our personal growth needed to reach your aspirations. Sending you birthday wishes.
Happy birthday, Nelly.
She has kidsies as well. Joy Vive says, I'm currently working through my depression laundry. I have a mountain of clothes to fold and put away.
That's a very good way to put
At
it.
least they're clean. At least they're clean. You already started the momentum, right? Like starting is the hardest part. What day is your birthday, Natalie? I have to add it to my calendar. Please do. Thank you, Shan. So much loves being Shan. I feel the mountain, Joy Vive, while I tackle mine here. Love is true, right? Again, acceptance. Like seeing the avocados on your socks. Zoe's been echoing the sentiment of avocado and quinoa, right?
Quinoa, yeah.
Quinoa and avocado,
Yeah.
of like people who eat only quinoa and avocado are like super zen,
So zen.
so calm, so
Yeah.
patient. And it's this joke of, you know, accepting accepting different like food choices, accepting that we're all in a weird way trying to human, having to do laundry, right? Like that's something that I'm kind of like faced with as well right now. All of my clothes, all of them are dirty right now.
Yeah. Don't want to do them.
Don't want to do
'Cause it
them.
takes time and
It-
effort.
yeah,
And it's
and yet
boring.
you're like, this needs to be done. Thank you, friends.
You can't wear your clothes again all clean and feel refreshed if
Crispy.
you don't.
Exactly. Ryan is here too. It's nice having you, friend. Thank you for joining us. Ryan is the friend who introduced me to the yoga.
All right. Hello,
Yeah.
Ryan. We heard much about you.
I've been talking about you, dear friend. Sending love.
All
Y'all.
of you, actually.
Yeah.
So many stories.
Make me feel much better no matter what is happening in my life. You are so loved. I woke up feeling better yesterday. Happy birthday, Natalie. So much love being sent. Your birthday is 420. That is sick. I like to celebrate
Oh shoot, dude!
by being true to
420 is like
myself.
around the corner.
Yeah, it is. Oh goodness.
Oh goodness.
The time is accelerating right now, dude. It's been kind of.
Look at the time, dude.
It's gonna be 4:20 in 2 minutes.
I
so
think that's a sign.
the homie here is going to manifest a little joint into this world. Thank you for joining us, by the way. I feel like this is exactly what needed to happen.
Absolutely.
Like this feels.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, dude. Like, and I was like kind of like unironically, and just because I tried to live into a place of acceptance, a little bit bummed that we didn't get to have this. Right? I was like, fuck. We just kept getting into different fractals of like being lost in the world. So this makes me happy, Holmes.
Yeah, dude.
I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
How wise, how deep, how
Don't
considerate.
listen to me. Really high right now.
I mean, I took like 2 puffs of the joint you rolled earlier. Maybe like I'll give it to you. Shell, I will message you today. Yesterday was a hectic grocery shopping day. Love is true. It's Kayana's birthday today. Send her lovin's. Thank you for reminding us. Shan, yesterday was a lot. More than 24 hours seems like. Time does seem to be that way these days. Like I feel, for instance, this last week I've had feels like it was a lifetime, bro.
Yeah.
Like since last Wednesday.
It feels like, going back to Tuesday that week, it feels like completely different plane of existence.
Yeah, like
And now we're here.
now we're back here again, where we started. And it's like this, again, the continuity of life, right? The fact that we keep waking up as ourselves, and then we're given another opportunity to live that life. Like clearly there's a significance in just that. Just actually coming back to be yourself every day. Thank you for
Just
doing
think
that.
about that. Be yourself every day, but we change every day.
We do.
A little
but-
bit by actually we don't know.
So it's like just to keep it like topic relevant.
Okay.
As we show up and accept ourselves every day, we become more of ourselves every day.
I'll accept that.
Right.
That's a good way to put
I
it.
feel that could be a good one. And you said it beautifully as well about the whole growing up thing. You
Dude.
know, where
Oh
even
my
if
goodness.
you're in your 70s, you're still in the act of growing up.
Like there's no actually like real point where it's like you are grown up now.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay taxes, you rent, you do all of this stuff. Doesn't mean
Doesn't
you're
mean
actually grown up. You may do grown up things. Yeah. But growing up is a imaginary line.
I like that. And the best part is like we actually had a whole stream topic on that whole growing up fractal. And I didn't even get close to that wisdom, dude. So thank you for sharing it with us, Herbs. Let's see. I don't want to miss the comment. She's doing a lot better. Thank you for asking. I'm going to get out of the kayak as soon as she's ready. So one of our friends actually had double pneumonia,
Double pneumonia.
both lungs. And she was in the hospital. Like it was
Are
rough.
you still alive? Are you still there?
And she is. Like she was like rough, and then Jovan brought her name into the space, and all of us consciously sent her energy. Next day, better.
That'll show.
Next day.
The power of manifestation.
The power of love. Thank you, friends, for being so loving. Hey, is Isaac here? He is. Isaac Isaac. Sending you love as well. Joe Schmo again. Love to you, friend. Happy birthday to Joe Bot, baby. Am I missing something? Oh, it's just, Kayana. It's the colored shirt, Natalie. It says responsibility. Responsibility.
Responsibility.
I think I might miss Adam gives off respectable young man vibes.
Thank you very much.
That's so nice.
Thank
like-
you very much.
You should have seen him with long hair. Like I've kind of like accepted, right? That this is how you look like right now.
Okay.
I had to like
Acceptance, right?
I had to
that's
accept.
that's
This
the
is-
topic.
this is
yeah,
Adam
that's the
now,
topic.
because the way I met this dude is there was like 60% more volume to Adam, you know, at any point. Like I would legit, when I was on the dance floor, I would look for the volume of hair in the dance floor to try to spot my homie.
No, it was hard hiding from people. I'll tell you that much. They always know where you are.
It's like you see that head of hair there. That's Adam. Yeah.
Like, where's Adam? Okay, no, wait.
Like
he's over
people
there.
didn't even recognize you at like White Rabbit. Dude.
No, I went incognito.
It's like super
Some people
sneaky.
recognized me, and that trips me out a bit, actually.
It's like, Adam, is that you?
It's like, were you not focusing on, like, how did you? I'm like hiding behind all this stuff. Like,
exactly. You
yeah.
don't know who I am. How
Yeah.
do you know who I am?
Yeah. Clark Kent over here.
And like I was so curious about it as well, thinking about it, Holmes. How like there must be something in you that experiences a sense of power in that incognito space. That Clark Kentedness, you know, that
It was like a pure experience because everyone knows you with this hair for years, and they know what to get, you know. But it's kind of like you're a different person from the start, like it's a clean slate. Like you could experience everything purely and just see how much the hair made a difference. Like that's
Yeah.
what made it clear. It makes quite a big difference.
that's so
It's quite a big
interesting,
difference,
dude.
dude. People like familiarity. It opens them up, even if they're not super conscious of it. It happens just like that. That connection, familiar connection.
Like the thing is, you know, like your long hair was something that attracted me to you the first time I
Right, Estian.
yeah, like I talked to you, right? And
Yeah.
it wasn't because I was like, oh, this dude has long hair, surely he's cool. It was more, this dude is willing to put the effort in to actually wear long hair, knowing what a like wrecked experience it actually is. I was like, this dude probably is willing to, you know, see things through.
Yeah.
And then that's what
Thank
like
you,
drew
homie.
me
That
to
means
you,
a lot. That
right?
means a lot.
Like seriously, Holmes. And Duncan was there with you, right? You remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Duncan was there. We went to Varsity Bakery. We ordered some chip batties,
batties.
probably.
Yeah.
And I had my longboard there, had it up on the table,
Yeah, against the table.
resting, and this guy just walks up. He's like, barges into my life, asks if I want a joint. Basically starts off, you have a beautiful longboard. You have a beautiful aura. And it just went from there. We smoked this joint soon afterwards.
Almost got
I will
caught by a
never
bouncer.
forget that, dude. We were just so chilled. Just smoking this joint. There's people going around. This bouncer, see him come up, and we just put it out. Step on it, boom. Calm. Ah, what's
Walks
happening?
into this
Just talking with homie. This guy's like,
Can't be smoking weed here.
what weed, bro?
What, sir?
And then he got tripped out.
Yeah, then it's like please, sir, search us. You know, knowing that I just killed the joint. Please, sir, search us. And he actually does it. Pats us down. And like all of us
We're
are like
laughing.
giddily
We're
staring at
laughing
one
at this,
another. Yes.
He never caught us.
And then we exchange numbers. And like this is the craziest part to me, dude. The fact that you actually actively went out of your way to send me a message and invite me to something.
Well, you actively went out of your way to have a joint with me and talk to me. So
That's true. Invite
tit
me
for
to
tat.
this like Sai event, I'll call it, instead of a party. It's like a Sai event at like a bar.
Yeah.
And then they had like a mini stage, you know, like some psychedelic vibes. I was like gel down hair, buttoned up shirt, jeans. And
Previous
I walk into this
forum.
world and I'm like, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. That's where I met Christian as well, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it at arcade?
At arcade, dude.
No way.
And he hated
dude.
my guts for it, bro.
Yeah, well, Christian. Very takes a while, but when he gets hold, it's like
Okay.
he's like him.
Yeah.
Just
Sticks to you forever.
very
Like we had the conversation this like 2 days past about the edge of conversation. You know, like all of us are tending towards different conversations, the conversations we like having. You know, the value we believe can be extracted from having a meaningful connection with another person. And now there are certain people who really can ride that edge with you, and how we have found that in one another. And you friends being here, you're probably riding that edge as well, right?
It's very special. It either is there or it's not. Hey,
Yeah.
there's no faking it.
Can't fake
Cannot
connection.
fake.
You cannot fake the connections.
And you might even be confused. Like I know I have been sometimes where you're attached to people and you're like, this is a connection. Like I do the same things. They look like me. I can talk to them a little bit. And, you know, you don't really get all the energy back from them. And that's how you tell. It's like you're playing, I don't know, like tennis. And the energy is the ball. And you're like hitting it to each other so you can both get a chance to interact and add your input.
Like I'm
and have fun.
imagining, you know, like a tennis game being a little bit skewed where one person is like striking every single fucking strike, and the other person is like bong, bong,
Ding.
bong, bong, just hops it back.
Can't be
to
like
you.
that.
Right?
Yeah. It can be like
And
that.
I mean, it could be good exercise for you to be like absolutely striking like that and just getting bounced back, but it is not going to feel like as meaningful of a game.
No, it doesn't feel equal. It's better when you're both like, ha, pa, 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 pa.
Running around, dude,
Yeah.
almost like just getting on another. There's like an analogy in there for conversation, you know, between me and my dad as well. I feel unfortunately both of us are like playing different games. Like he's playing like squash and I'm playing tennis.
I think that's a fair analogy.
Yeah.
You're both hitting it back, but you're not playing by the same rules.
Yeah,
all
and
the
like
time.
and like he has a wall in front of him that I'm standing behind, you know, that he keeps bouncing. Like he can't pass this wall to actually reach me. It's a challenge of acceptance. Like, come on. Okay. This combo is fire. I'm gonna like to stream a lot, but I'm going to be driving now, so lurking mode turns on. Love you, Jovan. Be safe. Thank you, friend. The combo here. She's doing a lot better. Thank you again for letting us know, Jovan. Funny you mentioned scars, Adam. When I look at the scars on my arms from various adventures, I don't remember the stories like I do the internal scars.
Yeah.
The way I see the internal scars was beautifully shared with me this weekend as an analogy for rocks, that we're all climbing this infinite mountain. And as you climb this infinite mountain, you step in rocks that hurt you sometimes, and then you're like, oh, this rock hurt. And you put it in your bag, or you find a shiny rock on the way, and you're like, oh, this is nice, and you put it in the bag, or you can use it as a tool.
I want to hold on to this one.
Yeah,
It's
and
special.
before you realize, you're so heavy, right? You have so many scars, you have so many rocks that you keep coming back to that you haven't actually properly spent the time to let go of. And it just makes you heavier and heavier, and you're like trudging. And taking a moment, and this is like something I've recommended to you friends a lot, taking a moment to just be with yourself. To sit in silence. Like homie here actually has been setting that intention to just like have like an hour of just meditation.
Pure freedom, hey?
Pure freedom, pure reflection. And
Yeah.
we're probably gonna go and do that after the stream is done. Maybe even in the midst. Like we might like have like a little bit of a window. We'll see how things work. So yeah, spend time with yourself, dear friends. It's great to be distracted. I know. It's great to be entertained. It's great to be fed. It's great to pursue. But it's also great to spend time with you.
You've got to live your whole life with you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
No one will spend as much time with you as you.
And I've been like experimenting with this idea that there should be a certain romance in getting to know yourself. Because the self that you have chosen to be as Adam is a very rare version of self, right? In the grand scheme of things, in the likelihood of you existing.
Yeah.
So spending time with yourself is like this honoring of the person that you are, like getting to know you deeply, like a love relationship.
Yes, absolutely. It is a relationship with yourself.
Because
It's
you
a very
have
important relationship.
you have DNA quirks, you have neurochemical differences, you have microbiome stuff.
There is so much going on. There is
layers of layers of layers
so
of
much
layers.
going on, always. And it's important just to know where you end and where that begins, I guess, as well. Otherwise, you'll be confused and blaming yourself. I know I have. I've been there. It's not a
You-
nice place to be.
You lack acceptance.
Yes, acceptance, dude. Coming back. Speaking of, what does acceptance lead to? I need
Acceptance
something.
leads to peace.
Peace.
I feel like I'm down for more peace.
This is a peace joint.
Peace joined for the win. Thank you, Hobie, for setting intentions, dude. I like that. Ryan, sending you so much more love. Thank you, Natalie, for encouraging as well. I'm harvesting golden teachers. Please wish them well in my future. I have some golden teachers as well right
They all
now.
wish so well.
Mm,
They all wish the best.
the best experiences. I hope they
The
teach
best.
you exactly what you need to be learning. The wisdom that has been awaiting you. Shan, no, not enough. Hey, Duck Dad, but still, 25% full, but everything has been watered, so patience and calm. Duck Dad waters all of his plants with rainwater.
That is probably the best idea, actually.
And then he gets to sell those plants to people. So, double whammy.
Wow.
He's starting a whole business, like selling these jelly plants and stuff.
That is so cool.
Isaac, magical moment, Shell. Thank you for joining us. I hope they remind you that the universe does, in fact, love you. Yes. And if you feel like you're tripping out, like you're melting, melt more and keep reminding yourself love is true. Love is true. Oh, goodness, my world is falling apart. But here I am for it. So surely love is true. Surely it must be. Surely I can continue. I can endure, right? Like that's something that I echoed this weekend as well. That love isn't necessarily all sunshine and rainbows. Love shows you how much you can endure.
In some way, love is suffering as well.
It's a weird fractal.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility, right, as well. And you can suffer responsibility, or you can pride yourself in being strong enough to love. So try to believe.
Which one do you choose?
Try to accept love, as something that you can do. Adam looks like the med student. They ask you if it's okay for them to help with the exam.
Thank you. I do need help with my. I didn't know I had one, but I really need help.
Please
right
help
now.
me.
Please.
You
guys
I haven't studied at all.
At all. I don't even know what I'm writing. So I need help.
Oh goodness. Like Adam is a chemist, actually, by trade. Mans has layers in his brain that I can only wish to understand. Shell, really? Me too. I started raining at 2 p.m. and I was scrubbing the rain barrels. I'm like, no, you wait your turn. Better dance. Adam would sell me the absolute sexiest Molly of my life. Am I off track? Adam wouldn't sell you Molly. He'd probably just give you sips of his.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that.
Yeah,
Ask my friends; they don't trust me when I give them water anymore.
It's like, what's in that water? Oh,
it's got water in it.
It's totally not empty water.
It's totally not. Oh man.
Y'all are overloading the server, spamming your rain requests. Like the system catch up, just like storms and storms. We actually had like a really good like festival, no rain, which is usually desirable. And then the last night of it, we got some rain. Unfortunately, we were able to move ourselves underneath the little roofed area, and everybody else had left, so we weren't inconveniencing
It was
people.
at least after the party.
Exactly.
So I know that our friend Marlon was very happy with that. Hearing from the stories he told us yesterday with that huge golf ball sized hail. Imagine that.
Like he tells us the story about a event that he was working at, and they were preparing for rain. Had everything prepared, had like the tarps set up in a way where the gear wouldn't get wet. And it went from nothing to straight golf ball sized hail in an instance. Like, yeah, okay, probably gonna rain and then hail. And he tells us about how people are like running, diving underneath cars.
Like this pandemonium, like
people,
everyone's like
people getting hit with their heads, him running back and forth to try and get the gear protected. A friend of his like getting up and trying to save him, getting hit, knocked out by the hail, pelted into the ground, hail hitting his back. Other friends seeing this dude, wondering
like
if he's dead.
Is he dead?
Gets back up. Yes, see.
Imagine experiencing that. And he showed us a picture. It was literally like...
Yeah, like proper like golf ball sized hails. Like, yes.
Yeah. And that was after they were melting.
Yeah, exactly. They got smaller. And like apparently it was only like 5 minutes. 5 minutes of hail. And like you just see this like white. People
Yeah,
tripping out about
watch
never
out
having
when
seen
you come
snow.
to South Africa, in other words, guys. There's dangerous weather at hand.
Our ice, like we wait for like either rain or like giga snow. Snow that tries to kill you.
Dangerous snow.
It's dangerous snow, exactly, dude. It's like, bro. I'm just imagining like these fairy-esque, running into the snow and like catching like a small little snowflake, and then South Africa, meanwhile, people getting pelted, doing snow angels, like moving little balls and out of the way. It's blissfully nice today. Such a needed break from a cold rain. Hoping it reached all of you friends. Love to you. Thank you, Isaac, finding yourself here again. Like the weather is changing in America right now again, dude. Like it's actually getting kind of cool. Like I feel like I can go for a poncho again now. Dude.
Yeah, I'm feeling that same vibe, man.
They probably just have been updated since the lights got flipped on. So much love. And the manifestation fractal. I would totally buy insurance for Adam. He
Hey.
has super wholesome vibes.
Hey,
Buy
love
insurance
you
for
guys
Adam.
too.
Like
Who was that?
that's Joy Vive actually. Joy Vive is the one who gave me that blue circly scarf with little tassels.
Dude.
Also, like, dude, she sent me edibles, like pop rock THC edibles, dude. I was like, this feels kind of wrong.
I feel guilty.
I feel
don't
kind of
deserve
guilty.
this.
Not even like I don't deserve this, but I remember as a kid giddily enjoying pop rocks, and now as an adult, I'm eating pop rocks, but I know full well these pop rocks are gonna fuck me up. And I'm like,
They're
yes.
adult pop rocks.
Adult pop rocks, exactly. Like, excuse me, these are adult pop rocks. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you again, JV. Melton, Adam, Orange and Story. Love this, right? And he's the first person who said the name Meltmore. I've shared with our friends, that story so many times.
We came up with it together.
Like it was
but
this,
I did
it was,
help.
it was intentional, right?
Yeah.
Because like I remember us like talking about DJing, right? And you
Yes,
were like,
you're like,
if you want to DJ, you have to get yourself a name at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, I remember that.
And like we took like a quarter tab each of like of acid.
Yeah.
And then we like spent the day kind of like having conversations. And with like it's this ebb and flow going in and out. And I shared this idea, right? Like Meltmore. And I shared it with him. And I see Adam being like, okay. And I kind of like, I lose interest. I lose inspiration, maybe motivation for the name. And then a few hours pass and it gets like to the heat of the day. And I'm sitting on his bed. And I'm like laying against the window who has like a little trolley. And I'm staring at him. And I'm like, dude. And we're having like a deep philosophical conversation. I'm like, bro, I'm melting. And he looks me dead in the eyes. And he says,
You're Meltmore.
and the fractal starts. Yeah. Like that makes me happy, Holmes. It makes me happy that I get to forever share that moment with you. Like you said beautifully with the whole losing someone, right? Like how you spent your time with that person is what you get to take away from it. Like that's what nobody gets to take away from you.
Nope.
Make friends.
And
Make friends.
it's often something that you end up passing on because it's such a big thing.
Exactly.
Maybe not directly, but it usually has such a big impact that it inspires you to grow off that same branch. That whole connection thing, generational connection, dude.
Generational connections, like the influence, and then the influence, and then the influence, and then
yeah. I can't but wonder where did some of them start? Because if you read like ancient books and stuff, you see some of the mannerisms in there that you use, and that trips me out.
But it's like, how long have we been saying these things? And why do we keep forgetting?
And how did it get to me?
Or has it always been there?
And we're technically transferring it now across the whole world.
Exactly.
Or the possibility of it. Everyone is these days. It's like spreading out.
It's becoming like, again, I knew like a line from Dracula where he says, I knew the future would bring luxuries. I didn't know it would make it commonplace.
Yes.
And a luxury like information, a luxury like wisdom is one that goes very much unsung these days. Like people used to unironically have to be uber wealthy to hire teachers that knew, big swaths of information, that they sat down with them day after day after day to teach them this information. And only the most wealthy could afford these things, and then only the most wealthy could transfer that information, and then only the most wealthy could benefit from that information. And it was this cyclical cycle of only the
It was exclusive.
exclusivity.
Information was exclusive.
Exactly. And now we've made information free, right? Information wants to be free. Like, that's one of my favorite quotes of the internet, dude. Like, information, like, it has this almost like mind of its own to want to be shared with one another.
That's what it is. It's like well, I don't want to say a disease or but it's infectious.
A meme, dude.
It's infectious.
Like Terence McKenna was like really on the meme train way before memes became what they are right now. Like he was like, yeah.
It's a lot of bandwidth if you think about it. A meme is pure bandwidth. You can communicate a lot. Like, it's not quite art, but it's like current. You know, it's like current art in a way, but it has to be like relational. And I feel like you can have such a connection through a meme. Like, some friends of ours only talk in memes, and I love it. I know exactly what they're saying.
Talking about exactly.
Because we got the same. We got it at the same.
But it's an exposure thing at that point, right? Where again, if it was exclusive, if there was any exclusivity to memes, where there were like whole groups of people who would make memes for themselves, and there is technically, make memes for themselves, and then experience these memes, and then only reference the memes in their individualized communities, that is going to create like dissonance. And you've probably experienced it as well, where two friends might share a fractal of a meme that they understand together, and then you hear it, and if you don't actually have that context, it feels as if you're lost.
Yeah, you feel like you're not in the right place. You
Exactly.
feel alone.
Alone is a good word, dude. Yeah.
We want to disconnect. We are connection machines.
Connection machines. What do you think about this quote, dude? Like, it's an LSD quote, but LSD quote, but I was like, the human being is the ultimate self-improvement model.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, because we don't only try to improve ourselves mentally, we try to improve ourselves physically with exercise. We try to improve ourselves with our food choices.
And we're trying to improve ourselves as a species.
And now
like as a macro.
We're reaching this level where we're using our minds to try and improve ourselves with like DNA manipulation and stuff like that as well. So yeah, embrace your self-improvement. It is what you are. That end, you said connections, right? So I feel like in a weird way, connections help us self-improve. Like, most of my self-improvement have come from making meaningful connections with other people, learning from them.
Because you can trust the connection. It's like a solid base. It's a masculine thing, didn't we say?
Yeah. Like, it's an end.
It's an end.
It's an end because, again, like the faking of a connection. If this is in a weird way like a tangible connection, but after that connection is made and I release, that's the connection was made, right? It's finished. That is, I don't have to keep remaking the connection.
It's like, if I tell you I love you, I don't need to continue telling you that I love you.
Exactly.
Because you've got
the point was made.
Yes.
But it is, in a weird way, now you're just saying that, there's like this want in me. Like, I was sharing yesterday, for example, there was this two friends, Abby and Gideon, this weekend. And I saw them at Twilight 3 years ago. And then she saw me again. And she saw me with the drum every single time. And she echoed to me how seeing me on the dance floor in that way made her feel safe. And that was like the conversation that was shared. And as we got deeper and deeper into the night, there was just this giddy excitement where she sees me, then there's this bubbling up of like wanting to tell me she loves me. And then I give her a hug, and then we dance. We continue to dance. And she's a mom. Gideon is her husband. Like, just like pure platonic, I love you.
Polarization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give that hug of like, I love you. And then there's every single time we see one another again, that want to like remind this person, hey, I do love you. I see you.
Yes.
Arises again. And then we don't actually have to say it, right?
Yes.
Like, in that way where it's known. It doesn't have to be re-echoed, but there is still this bubbling up to re-echo it.
Yes. And you will tell them that you love them again, but I guess it's more on the short term. Like, if any connection is made. You don't need to continue like going over like, did
Yeah,
this really happen? You know,
exactly.
did this happen? I need to check it again. Like you
And
just accept it. Accept it.
acceptance, exactly. You
Yeah.
accept that love is true in that moment. And echoing it over and over again in a weird way can cause like dissonance.
Yes.
Right, like-
because it's kind of like you're doubting it.
Exactly.
Like, why are you?
Exactly. Because I'd be like, oh, I love you, Adam. And then I
like-
spend the next 20 minutes keep telling you, oh,
know.
I love you.
Like,
I love you. Do I love you? Yes, I love. And then because of that as well, now because it's like filled, that space is now filled with this question, this proclamation. It takes away the possibility for any other conversation of connections to be made.
Yeah.
Right. So
Actually,
even though it's like still a connection in a weird way, you can rob yourself of connection by trying to connect in a way you've already connected. Maybe that's the thing that's actually like good to remind ourselves of, is that I can get sometimes attached. And I knew this is your trip as well coming here. People can get attached to the way that you have connected before. And if that connection isn't the exact same way, they think the connection isn't pure.
yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like you're not accepting that people change, that things can be different, that yeah, you can connect again, but it doesn't have to be the same way. Often not actually.
Beautifully so. Novelty.
Yes.
Right. That was Terence McKenna's trip. Oh, he was like really on the novelty train. It was like, yeah, you're here for differences, for change, for the feminine.
Yeah. If you experience the same thing over and over again, are you really experiencing, or
Ooh, I like
did
that.
you just experience in the
Mm.
past?
I mean, like, and I like to counter that with like a question of, if I decided, weirdly so, to decide I'm gonna just sit here and start meditating, go like all full Buddha-esque about it. Even though I'll be experiencing the same thing, I'll eat food, I'll sit on the ground,
Yeah.
I'll breathe air. There is still going to be a whole plethora of novelty in that experience to be had as well, And then it's a question of, what do you want to accept for your life? If that's the amount of power you have, that you can unironically just sit down and live your life that way. Sure, with like some caveats. I know, don't die, please. Keep feeding yourself. But you can have an absurd experience. Like, you can live under a bridge for the rest of your life if that's what you want to accept for yourself.
Yeah.
And it will still be a worthy experience to have. You'll make connections.
Now I'm thinking about Diogenes.
Right? Exactly. This dude, like,
Diogenes
he
the
threw
cynic.
away everything. Everything.
Yep.
Like, he didn't even want to wear clothing. He slept in a barrel with dogs.
Yeah.
He shat in the streets,
What?
mocking people, dude.
He asked Alexander the Great to get out of his son, please.
Yeah. Alexander the Great stands in front of him. He's like, bro, please get out of my sunlight.
Yeah.
Alexander the
Is there
Great.
anything you want, Diogenes? Anything in this world at all? I'll give it to you. I've just conquered like 75% of the known world. I'll give you anything,
I want you to
Like,
get out of my sun.
please.
What a gangster, dude.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite, stories is that he would walk with like a lantern in the streets, bro.
He's looking for a decent.
Looking for something, and then people ask him like, "What are you looking for?" And it's like, "I'm looking for a decent man." I can't seem to find any.
Where have they all gone? I can't.
I can't see them. Oh,
Yeah, he knew the joke, that guy.
yeah. And he lived a life. He
Yeah.
lived a whole ass life. He lived a life so significant, even though it was completely void of significance in the way that we assign significance in today's times. And yet he's remembered for that. In fact, I'm kind of like,
Look up to the dude.
yeah, I fanboy about him a
Yeah.
little bit, bro. I'm like, oh, I would like be
Ah,
so, I'd
jeez.
be so excited. to talk-
kawaii.
yeah. And he would hate my guts probably, bro. If he saw me, he's like, I'm like, oh, I love him. He's perfect. He's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I'm like, ah, he's doing it. Look at it. I just realized that I don't think my daughter has ever been out to a proper breakfast restaurant. We always make our own pancakes, but I think maybe this morning it would be nice to go out. Weirdly enough, I went out to a restaurant that make pancakes for you yesterday. And it was like the longest wait for food experience I've had in a while.
Yeah, for cinnamon pancakes, flat cinnamon pancakes.
Flats,
That
like
took
it's a batter that you
50
pour into a pan.
50 minutes, 55 minutes. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like a proper hour.
I didn't want
dude.
to look at my phone anymore.
Yeah, so
But they came.
do it and
Don't
do it
worry.
with patience. You know, like make it a whole conversation thing. How did you convince Adam to be in stream with you today, Melty? I didn't have to convince him. He wanted to be here. He seems to be successfully dodging the stream all week before today.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think he was dodging. I think he had other responsibilities. You know, his time had to be spent differently, and I was in complete acceptance of that. You know, there was no suffering because I didn't want for it to be differently. This is what needed to be. Here we are. You know, like again, acceptance. So much acceptance. Adam has been a massive teacher of acceptance in my life. I shared with him when he came back home how the disconnect me and him had with one another, the confusion, right? There was confusion
There was
with us as
confusion.
well. Dude.
Yeah,
And yet,
absolutely.
when we reconnected, when we actually embraced the discomfort of actually having to go and do this, in the same way, like I had to do with Zoe, you know, you probably had to do with me as well, right? And like you probably felt that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the embrace, right? Like we gave one another a hug, and that's where it started. And I remember saying to him as well that there's gonna be probably like a period where we're gonna have to remember how to people with one another again. And I think it took us like that walk to the
Yeah.
copy.
It wasn't long.
And
It
then we
wasn't
were
that long.
in it again.
And then we're just rolling on like normal. It's been so nice to spend the last week and a half with you, homie.
You make time go very
Dude.
fast, dude.
Dude.
So much good times. Like think about it, bro. Like apparently your measure of time and how fast time is passing is directly attached to how good of a time you're having. And this week and a half has
true.
disintegrated.
Yeah.
I didn't make my flower. I know. I remembered as I was doing yoga, I was like, oh, I'm so zen.
Yeah.
I'm so calm. And then
Huge realization.
And then my
like,
mind is like, hey, you have no reason to be calm.
You forgot about the flower.
You forgot about the flower.
How dare you?
Yesterday we were like spending the late night. Like we went out to meet some friends. Got home around 10. Packed the car, washed the dishes, and then went to bed. And in that whole stupor, I completely spaced about the flowers. So I'll make 2 flowers today, double flowers. Shan truth. I just need that sun. Plants must grow strong. But my wife noticed yesterday that I've been working non-stop for over 2 weeks. Maybe today's cold is telling me to accept a bit of rest. Please do. Even if you just take 15 minutes to rest, right? That's okay as well. We had a conversation this weekend about like meditation, where there's a whole part of, you know, humanity that realize that life just seems to be hectic always. And they literally built the whole system around meditation to just actually take a break, to relax a little bit. Mel, I 100% agree about the relationship with self being romantic. I've been entering that fractal, and it's unusual and beautiful. Thank you, Loizana. You are worthy of love, especially from yourself. Especially from yourself. And it's hard. It's hard because
it's actually where you get most of your love.
A bandwidth. It's like so much bandwidth. Like I can, in the topic we talked about earlier, I can tell you I love you, right? And then there's that connection of like love being communicated. But that is, if you break up that like whole exchange, the amount of oxytocin I gave you, the amount of, you know, information that was communicated in your brain, it's gonna be like a fraction of the amount of love that he generated himself thinking about what that love I have for him means, right? And then
very good way to put it.
Exactly. And then we have access to that at all times. And yet we still use that power sometimes to mess ourselves up.
And we can. There's no one that messes ourselves up like we do. On the flip side of self-love, like that guy knows everything.
He knows all of the things he's done.
And he's freaking strong, actually. It's hard to fight against.
You were talking about how that part of you like conspires almost to fuck you up. It's like, yeah. Any second now, he's gonna be off guard, and I'm gonna slap him. Where we've hung over the banister ball like law school prom. And my wonderful wife just made homemade bacon croissant sandwiches. Love is so true.
Love is
And
true.
alcohol is a big turn. Oh, Isaac. Isaac is married as well now, dude. Wasn't married when he started joining the streams.
Wow.
Is married now, dude. Has a wife,
Congratulations,
has a
Isaac.
doggo. Sam, let me summarize by saying that love is true. Dinner, breakfast, food is some of my favorite food in existence. It is so nice. It has like almost like a homely vibe to it, dude. There's something about breakfast in that way. Breakfast talk is hitting my stomach. I'm also getting hungry again. We had like a nice wholesome meal. Some tomato soup, some oxtail, some toast. Remember for cookies? We were just talking about food. Mom manifesting some drugs into our hands. I was talking about like how, Mama is a drug dealer. Like, and you sell like kilograms, like hundreds of kilograms. Oh!
Fantastic.
Hoe kon dit saag?
It just like melts in your mouth.
Melt Mom. Melt Mom makes biscuits.
Not the only melt she made.
Yeah. Bruh, like the amount of volume of cookies my mom has produced. I think about it like when I package things as well. How my hands are now working with something that's gonna go out into the world and someone's gonna take it into their homes and then sit down and consume it. Huh, puppy? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Don't you think that's crazy? Isn't that crazy? This piece of cookie. One piece of cookie. There you go. There you go. Oh, nice. Let me see. I feel I'm pretty far behind. Mojo. Sounds perfect. I've been stressing out about not having enough variety to sell, but looking at the weather, I can use this to my advantage. I can only bring out a small amount, making it easier for me. I feel like variety is nice, but having some limits on that variety gives you a little bit more structure, is the way that I think about it at least.
You don't want to spread the butter too thin.
Yeah. Oh, Pippi. You little fascinating doftertjies. Sam, it's been hard to explain. Very much recognized process. Look up the video deadline mode. It's really starting to work through the yang and the yin and the downfall. I feel like I'm probably missing the conversation that's happening. Superhuman out of work, planning on fly. We were talking about being superhuman today, interestingly enough, Dr. Huh?
Nietzsche.
Yeah. Become superhuman, friends. Transcend the need to suffer and then to externalize that suffering and then to believe that you are powerless in that suffering. Like if the options are live or die, live well.
And prosper.
Live well and prosper. I guess like that one. Yes. Live well and prosper, dear friends. Live well and prosper. Tunnel vision is an easy fix if you can recognize that it's what is happening. I don't know if it's necessarily something to fix. I just think it's something to find balance within. Right? Like this weekend has been just balance over and over again for me. Because if you're gonna do something, do it with the mindset of there is another side of this as well, right? If you know that you're gonna have to be grinding your bones to dust to build a business, know that this type of work, because that's what happens, right? People start a business working that hard, grinding themselves to dust, and then it becomes their normal. And then they just become that and they do that over and over again. Be willing to.
When it should have an end.
Not an end, but also a change, I think might even be better. Like it's okay for you to build something painfully, right? To suffer a little bit for that love you have for this thing you want to build, knowing that there is going to be an end goal where you actually get to reap the rewards, and then in some sort of way identifying what those rewards would be and then allowing yourself that. right? Like having employees one day like that. That's also not something that's impossible. And, like you could create structure, you could create employment, you could create more food in the world, give people access to plants that they can actually, grow food for themselves. It's a process. It's okay to be tunnel vision. I know I am. I am very tunnel vision, like extremely so. But I also allow myself not to be, right? Like it's like a focus, defocus thing. Focus, defocus, focus, defocus. And then realizing it's almost like a rep. Every single time you go from defocused to focus, think of that as like a strengthening of the will that is yourself. But you can't hold on always. You're gonna hurt yourself that way. Isn't that right? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Just be fine. I'm super happy for my sister having the baby, but I'm very sad for myself. Zano, do you want kids? Can't you have kids? Is the act of your sister having kids making you feel like you're missing out on something? That you're falling behind? Do communicate. We're here for you, friend. Mm-mm-mm. It's like spirituality splashing water in your face when you break from the burden. You will return. Oh, Joe Schmo was sharing the same wisdom, but you just gotta wash your face. I like that. Joe, my cognition is like the
Absolutely.
radar map on command and conquer. It only stays wide if you build a radar tower, otherwise it disappears. I'm happy to have finally built the radar tower. I think our friends are like on the same fractal that we were
Yeah,
communicating
no,
actually.
that's hitting a note right there.
Right, like it's to see like the different perspective of it as well. Susanna, what's up? Is a tiny baby Henry good? Are you good? By the way, pray for me that my wife doesn't kill me. I had to fertilize all the pepper plants with fish fertilizer. Oh, they're currently stinking up the garage. Something fierce. I'm blessing all of the little microorganisms that are gonna eat all of that fish goop. They're probably having the time of their lives right
Live
now.
long and prosper, bro.
Exactly, Susanna speak. Like that. That's the way, brother, sending the wife vibes. The baby is a perfect angel. It's bringing a lot of old emotions that I've been trying to process for a while. I hate my
That's
dad
beautiful.
because he forced me to get an abortion, and I haven't been able to forgive him. Yo. So maybe don't forgive him. Maybe start with accepting what had happened, right? To keep it relevant to today's stream topic. Because Adam beautifully said that in a weird way, acceptance is forgiveness, right? Because we can't change it ultimately. What had happened. And accepting it isn't necessarily something we want to hear. It sounds insensitive. But what's the alternative?
When you accept it, you're allowed to flow through you and out. It's a very difficult thing. It always usually is. But yeah, I think before getting to forgiveness, you need to just accept. There's no other alternative, you know. It's all about reducing your suffering. You've already suffered enough, and without accepting, you keep on living that reality.
Mm.
It won't change anything, but you can change your perspective on it.
Like
It's not easy.
I don't want her to hate her dad, right? Like I feel it's insensitive for me to say that as well, because who am I to say she doesn't deserve to hate her dad for that experience that was shared? But the act of hating one's dad feels like something that could, in and of itself, bring pain with it.
I think so, because you're the first victim of that hate.
Hmm.
You are the one who conceives it, and then it gets transferred.
The energy, right? My dad asked me the question of, explain to me what energy is. And the closest I could come up to of an explanation is energy is change, right? But change can be anything. Things can change for the better and things can change for the worse. And the energy of hate, unfortunately, brings with it no change because it's familiar. It's a certain state, right? You can experience change of hate, right? Like your hatred can grow, your hatred can change forms, your hatred can become more mean. You can want to murder someone with that hatred. You can, avoid them. You can resent them and, think badly of them, wish them, calamity. But all of that energy isn't something that is serving you. right? It's not going to change the situation.
Serving is a good word.
It's only going to hurt you with that
Mm.
hate.
How
Uh,
can it serve your future? You know,
Like
how
if
can
it's a
you?
choice that you're making,
Mm,
right? Is that choice going to serve you in the long run?
exactly.
We love you, Susanna. Zano. I
We love you.
I have had
We love you.
moments of like hating my dad as well, but not for the same reasons. My hate for my dad came from a lack of acceptance, right? And I don't know if the forced abortion was in a weird way a lack of acceptance. You know, keeping it on today's stream topic as well. Like maybe there wasn't the opportunity to accept that situation in that time of your life or your dad's life. And that lack of acceptance in a weird way feels like rejection, right? That you're not good enough, that this experience you're showing up for is not a worthy one.
Mm.
And as a result of that, it almost like creates this want to prove ourselves. At least that's the way that I've experienced it with my dad for so long, is it creates this visceral need to be understood. And then that understanding takes a bunch of physical representations because we can only understand things in the context of the things we've experienced before, right? I can't explain to my dad the significance of realizing oneness when it comes to a psychedelic experience because he's not going to have the frame of reference to understand what I'm trying to say to him. So instead, I try to keep it physical, right? That the planet is a circle that has an atmosphere around it, that you are actively breathing. And if you would be to removed from this hole, you would cease to exist very quickly. So there is no separating yourself from the rest of this experience, right? You are an integral part of it. You are not living on the earth. You are living in the earth. You're in the atmosphere right now.
Very true. You're in the magnetic field.
Exactly. Like we're as
You're in the
bipedal human
gravity.
beings, like pendulums balancing on that, dude. Like leaning
Yeah.
forward as a pendulum and then catching ourselves.
And that's how we began running. Like just move.
I'm
Really
falling.
quickly.
I'm
I don't want to fall.
Susanna, let me say, we can go back. I don't think I will ever forgive him. I just hate that he talks about my sister. She did good, eh? It's what he says, like she brought some good grades, like it's some sort of a checklist. Yeah, of course, right? Because again, in this way of understanding the world expects us to, that is something he can understand. Oh, yes, good marks. I understand good marks mean good marks. I understand that. Oh, daughter married and now has child. That is good. Good.
Checklist.
Checklist.
Check.
Yes. And just because you're not checking his checklist doesn't mean your experience is any less significant. And on the contrary, if I had to like draw up a checklist for my dad of me, right, I would be checking the list that he would not want to have checked. Oh, son does drugs. Check. Son does not believe in the same religion I do. Check. Son does have is relentless, absolutely relentless when it comes to sharing his ideas. I'll check. Son doesn't accept my truth. I'll check. Right? And I accept that as well because we don't have to be accepted necessarily by our parents to still be loved by them. At least enough to have gotten this far. At least enough to have them think about us, right? Because your parents do think about you. You're on their mind, like you're an integral part to their lives. And in a weird way, maybe, Zano, you're the ideal lesson to your dad. Like, in fact, and this might be a little bit petty, live your life so well that your dad has to reconsider his whole worldview about what it means to have a good checklist, right? I feel like that could be, if you don't want to forgive him, live your life uber well, right? As a celebration of your own life, prove him wrong, if you will. Not to prove him wrong, but to live well. Right? Like I feel even though having a kid might be great, I've met many people who aren't happy who have children. I've met many people who got good grades in high school that are not happy doing what they're doing right now. Just because we have these understandable measures of success doesn't mean we're happy. Doesn't make you successful as an integral part to this life you're living. It becomes again a externalization, dude, where we are almost trained in this world to identify with the external sides of ourselves, right? Like people aren't encouraged and celebrated for the inner work they're doing as
Mm-mm.
much as they're celebrated for the outer work that they're doing.
Well done, you got a new car. Kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Oh wow, you got a new
Everyone,
house.
everyone
Let's warm
changes
your
their
house.
attitude towards you
Hmm.
because you got this new car because you're
You got that wealth now.
that wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the work, and again, Zana, like as that opportunity for you to teach your dad something, you can show him that there are things more valuable than getting a new car, right? That there are things that you can do for yourself as yourself. The art you make, right? You going out of your way to talk to people, the showing up for your dream. It's not necessarily the same checklist that people have traditionally followed, but we're not living in the same world that they grew up in. They spent their whole lives preparing for a world that no longer exists, right? The school
Let that sink
system,
in.
the school system is so radically going to change because how do you mark things, dude? How do you like grade essays? How do you grade projects when there's AI tools, right?
How do you justify the time spent when there's AI tools?
Dude,
Dude.
like I believe the way we should transition into schooling in the future is we should teach kids how to reason. We should teach people how to think. We shouldn't teach people what to think.
That's Estian 2023 melt for
No,
23.
teach people how to think. Don't teach them what to think.
I'm thinking about what's that Satron song? Imagination isn't what you think.
Yes, it's about how you think.
Yes.
Exactly. Mm, yes.
Weird fractal.
Imagination, dude. Imagination, I believe, is the part of us that is directly connected to what I consider God. Is that ability to create from essentially nothing. And there's like people that believe you can't create in imagination something that you haven't seen before. But I feel it's again a case of mistaken identity where you're more likely to imagine things you've seen before because it's like a bandwidth thing, like a gap. Like there's everything, right? You can imagine everything. But because you've had exposure to something, you're more likely to gravitate towards something than everything.
anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are powerful. Gravitate towards what you want to have in your life. Accept that you have that power.
Yes.
Accept it. We do. We really do. Susanna, those feelings sound rough, but they are yours. I empathize with you. We had to excommunicate my wife's mom and dad. She's having many emotions about how we raised the little ones and what she did not to get from her parents. All I can say is that you are loved. It's
You are
crazy
loved.
how a few of our friends and me too have gone through this transition phase of almost reestablishing our priorities and our values to the people we spend a lot of our time with. And when it comes to like having kids, right? Like if you have kids and having to take your kids to these other people who you feel a certain way of spending time with, that is a big burden to carry, a responsibility that nobody else can weather for you. Be with her, right? Be her family. I think that's the best advice I can give in that case. Susanna, that's very painful and traumatic experience that you are reliving. I want to hold you tightly and give you comfort. Please reach out if you want to talk. All of us love you so much, Anna. You know that. Yes, acceptance. I can only imagine, dude. I can only imagine because in a weird way, I wouldn't have to because I'm going to experience that same fractal probably very soon. Because Rudo is doing all of the things. Rudo is checking the list. Oh, Rudo is like,
Really?
Rudo is like Christian. Bam. Hard worker.
Mechanical
Bam.
engineering.
Mechanical engineer. Bam. Finished it in the allotted time period. Bam. Has a paying job and has a place right now. Bam. Now he just needs to get a wife and kids, bro. And he's gonna be like, ding, 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 ding. My dad's gonna be like, Wow, wow, my kid is so
I've
successful.
got grandkids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I understand the biology of it. I understand the masculine need to continue, right? Even though it wants an end, it wants an end so that there's no end.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him so
The
much.
ultimate end.
I love him so much, and that's maybe like the only thing you really need to do as well. Just like love your sister and that little baby. Don't let your dad taint that energy. Can't take that away from you. It's your love to be had. Zano, I'm sorry to hear this. You're perfectly you, and you are loved and accepted exactly as you are. Yes.
Yes.
Just throwing this out there. Willow Essence is the forgive and forget essence. Please do throw that out there. The sun is a fire in my laser at my eyeballs right now, but it's not uncomfortable. You want to sit more in the sun as well?
Yeah. That's a bit better.
Like it is.
Now you can see my face.
It's quite bright.
It's coming in at this angle.
As
The African sunset.
it's good to actually get sun at this angle, apparently. And we did talk about being there for the sunset, right?
Dude, we saw the sunrise this morning.
We did.
Now we're
We s-
seeing
we
the
like
sunset.
we
How
stared
often
we
do you
stared
get
into
that?
the sun rising.
Now we're staring into the.
Yeah, I'm like staring,
It's
like,
hurting more though.
hurting
There's
sideways.
there's no clouds anymore.
They were like these kind of like thin, long layers of clouds that was like obstructing the sun. So we could like stare directly into it. We could see the full circle of it, but it wasn't so bright that it was like hurting our eyes. Hello, puppy. Just take your space. This is my space now. Let me see. Where were we? Adam, that is almost a word for word conversation I had with my wife about her past. Very well said. Love's true. Thank you, friend, for echoing. Pippi, the indecision, bro. The acid indecision. Yeah, my dad had always seen me and my sister as his things. I have had zero bodily autonomy my whole life, but this experience gave me the opportunity to learn that and create space. I wished him calamity and he almost crashed his plane, so I don't know. Exactly. And you would have, if he actually crashed his plane and died, you would have held yourself responsible.
You would
for
have
so
lived with
long.
that for the rest of your life. Can't
Yeah.
change it.
It's again, you would have to accept it, but it wouldn't make it any easier.
No.
It
Sure
wouldn't
wouldn't want to
make-
do it again.
Exactly. Not gonna lie, I want to wish someone calamity just because it paints a funny picture in my head, like swirling papers off the desk and the water faucet pouring bees. I mean, for me, it's more like if I wish someone calamity, I wish like mild calamities. Like I hope you
It's
step.
like transformative calamity. Like if it's going badly, it transforms.
Yeah,
into
changes the
a-
person's perspective of the world. That is one of them.
Yeah.
But for me, like if I find that meanness arise in me, I like kind of like scale it down where I'm like, I hope you step in a wet spot with your socks on.
yeah.
Yes.
Take that.
Take that. I hope you like misplace the bottle cap, you know, and then feel stupid for a
yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The water faucet spewing bees sounds like a Shigeroth level shenanigans, dog. The faucet spewing bees like sounds like an absolute nightmare to me, dude. Like I would not have a good time. I don't actually like swarms of bees that much.
Me neither.
It causes like a deep sense of discomfort in me, of like, oh, this thing can kill me.
Now
This-
there's a million of them.
now there's a million of them. Like I could handle a sting, but getting pound and then they like get angry, bro. If you get stung, it means you're supposed to be getting stung now. They like release like pheromones.
Yeah, when they all start piling on you, then it's a different story. Interesting story. When I was young, my mom, I was like maybe 4 or 5, and I was at this friend's birthday party out in the bush, and we were viewing like this bunch of elephants, and all of a sudden, I just remember everyone like starting to like get freaked out, screaming. I heard this buzzing. My mom started freaking out, immediately like grabbed me because I was allergic. Like I don't know if we found out before then, but I think we knew by then. And we literally, there was like like maybe 100 meters like plus of just elephant crap, like these big elephant turds, dude. Like, and she took me in there, and the bees didn't follow because it was confusing the pheromones because there were so many
Oh.
other, and I didn't get stung.
Dude, your mom saved your life.
MVP.
Yeah.
MVP.
Saved your life by hiding amongst cow mountain. But like elephant mountains.
Dude. When we got back, everyone was like,
Stung
dude,
up,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah, see.
crazy, random story.
No, thank you for sharing it. Like again, right? Like I'm imagining how that moment, you know, changed you for the rest of your life, right? Like getting actually saved by your mom.
Dude,
That trust that this
dude, the
person cares
bonding,
about me more than
dude,
anything in the
actually,
world.
true mom vibes.
Yeah.
Moms, you're awesome. If they're
We have
you know,
a
there are
bunch. We have a
moms out
bunch of
there.
moms in chat right
Moms,
now.
you rock. You fucking rock.
You're so loved. Thank you, friends. Water faucets being bees. I don't know if the comment stopped. It might have. Thank you, friends, for being here with me. I'm gonna go get my cards. It's been a long time coming. We haven't actually pulled cards in a while.
Let's do it.
Hey, puppy. Thank you, sweet girl. I appreciate you giving me some space. Oh, I'll have you actually pull the card.
Oh, I'm the victim today. Hey?
Yeah, you'll be the one like gets to choose.
Cards. He's freaking awesome, isn't he? Like, he's not here right now, so I can tune this crap, but he is fucking awesome. You guys, he talks about you all the time. I'm still learning your names and your stories, but yeah, that man has a deep love for all of you. And it's freaking rare. He is a fucking awesome human being. I think we all are, but I just guess I'm grateful to have known someone like that. I think both of us are. Yeah. And here we are. He's got the cards.
Silly girl.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Little shenanigans generator. You want some? You want some wheat? One more puff. I've been missing these cards. I've been really missing these cards. I didn't want to take them with me because extra things to carry and responsibility. Exactly. Like these cards are very sacred to me.
Oh, these are powerful cards.
I did break my box. Dropped it one day. Snapped it in half.
It's
But
okay.
it's still boxes at least. Card time! So much love is being shared. Children's birthday party in the bush and viewing a bunch of elephants. Can't relate. Wonder why our birthday parties are in the backyards of Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't know which one I'd rather take. to
I
be
mean, I've
honest.
never been in a Chuck E. Cheese, but apparently there's like
Yeah.
animatronics. There's like an
Yeah.
arcade, place to eat. It's like a kid's wet dream, dude.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Probably shouldn't say.
Hold on.
It's oh, wait a second. It's good. It's good to see Adam. Thank you for joining stream today. Your energy is beautiful. Like I knew you friends would know, right? Like there's a reason he's one of my favorite homies in the world. I'm happy that you made the effort, dude. I missed card time, man. I've missed. Me too, Shan. I'm gonna use this metaphor the next time my life is in danger. Find the elephant dung. Yes. Yes, there's a whole like joke about that as well, right? Where there's a bird that was flying and it was so cold and it basically froze, fell to the ground, and then a cow walked over it, eating, you know, some of the scraps, dropping a massive dung load directly on that bird.
It warmed up.
And it warmed up, and then it burst out of the dung and it was singing and flapping around, and then a cat pounced it and ate it. And the moral of the story is, not everyone who craps on you is necessarily your enemy. And if you're in the shit, stay quiet.
That's a good one.
Right? It's not mine, but
I know.
it's an interesting like and like attaching it to the elephant.
I was not expecting that. But it makes sense.
It does gotta make sense, right? Orange, you think is the color? I'm gonna use a metaphor. Having you here today. Thank you again for the love. Nice to see you, Adam. Thank you for joining. So much love. Pippi lunging at the joint. I'm pretty sure Pippi does actually want to smoke weed with me, dude.
Hey, Pippi.
Like she does this thing as
She
well.
just wants to be a part of everything. Look at
She's
this.
like, here, I'm here for
I'm
this.
here. I'm here. I show up.
I'm also present. Look at me. Look, I'm making connections. Look at me.
And
Connecting.
she's so warm.
Right, so like our fingers, our digits are cold right now. Actually, Melt, two scientist friends, Adam and Johan. How nice. I have like Christian is also a computer scientist.
Yeah, you have scientist friends.
All of my friends are scientists.
nerds.
Like, and I was sharing this conversation with them 2 days
Nerds
ago,
rock.
where I'm a strong believer in surround yourself with people smarter than you, right? If you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And yeah, being surrounded by scientists always keeps my mind active, always makes me consider there's more to be learned, right? Actually, I don't know everything.
It's humbling.
It
This
is.
a humbling experience.
Exactly. Hey Adam, you've lived and directed. You're live and direct on my TV. Ever been on TV before?
Never.
Think about that, dude. Like somewhere in
First
the
time for
world,
everything.
there's a TV in someone's house, and you are on that TV right now, being watched.
Wow. I feel honored actually.
Yeah, dude. Like that's to me, it's like this massive honor of like you're inviting me into your home right now. Thank you.
and it's also about time, you know. You guys are
Exactly.
spending this time interacting with us from afar, connecting with us.
They have to believe that it's valuable.
Exactly.
And I value you, friends. Like this again, it's this juxtaposition of you value the space enough to be here, and without you being in the space, it would hold no value, right? Like I could be here alone talking to the trees. Sure, that has some sort of value to me, but every single one of you add an infinite amount of value, sharing your experience, you know, sharing your fractal,
Sharing your time.
your time. This is the card.
Is that
And
the one?
this is one I pulled. I'm not gonna look at it just yet. I'm gonna put it in my pocket, and I'm gonna ask you to tell me, you know, when to stop as well. So, whenever you're ready, Holmes.
I'll tell you. Now.
Together.
Together.
They're upside down. Thank you, Holmes, for showing our friends. Card number 12. No? What's the card number?
Card
14.
number 14.
The upside down meaning goes. Oh goodness. This is gonna. This
goodness.
is gonna be like very direct, Holmes.
Oh geez. Am I ready?
Remember, we all have moments of imbalance. Be gentle with yourself and those of whom you are co-creating. Move forward towards renewed balance. Look at the goose bumpers, oh.
Dude.
Like that was the thing that we were echoing so many times.
This trip, dude.
Right? And then let me read you the full meaning for your card, Holmes. Co-creation, balance as the core meaning. Standing together in an electrified field formed by the flower of life, golden spirals, specifically inside a star tetrahedron. This couple joins in balance and deliberate co-creation. And a couple is two, right? Doesn't have to be romantic. It's just when two people or more come together, that's a couple of people. At this dawning of a new era, we have the opportunity, perhaps for the first time in a millennia, to shift the absolute paradigm of power over to an emerging vision of power too. Because I'm getting more goosebumps.
Dude.
It is certain that the old model is no longer workable. The way of conventional power and greed have brought us to the brink of ruin. However, by mutual intent to co-create and bring balance, we will find common ground from which to create an optimistic future. Envision yourself standing in the symbol of co-creation and dynamic balance. First, seek your inner point of equilibrium. We talked about that in stream today. Living in balance with male and female aspects within all, will make it easier to achieve balance when relating to others. You were on the way here, we were talking about the whole masculine polarity thing, right? And how
Yes.
you have leaned more into a certain state of being. And
Yes.
that's it, dude.
It's been coming up.
Second, observe the way your intimate relationships are functioning. Are you living in cooperation and respect with the ones that you love? Is there a dynamic give and take to your interactions?
Worth.
The value, right?
Dude. Wow.
Third, consider how are you co-creating with colleagues and co-workers? It ought to be more than simply getting the job done. Thinking about our planning of Magneta, dude.
Yes, dude.
Right?
Yes.
Finally, look at the way you view the world as a whole and your place therein. You were talking about
The world.
and like wanting to find our place, right?
Belonging.
Belonging. Yet, let this card help activate your full participation in shifting paradigms towards unity, oneness, and in full caps, peace. Where's that joint?
Where is it?
There it is.
Da da da.
Oh man, like this feels like I say this so many times to our friends. Like, even if I was like really meticulous about scripting this shit and like getting like all weird about it, it's impossible.
Peace.
Look at that.
I don't know if you can see it.
I think like turn it a little bit to the side.
Yeah.
There we go. And then the last word of today's card. Peace. How about that? And I haven't actually seen this card. Let me just show our friends what this card looks like. Nice up and close. Adam's card today. Together. And this is Ho'oponopono.
I have never seen this one before.
It's a yantric symbol, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was also
2 infinity symbols on it. It's upside down as well. At least the one I pulled. So we'll read the upside down meaning first. Infinity symbol at the bottom and at the top. That's the other way around. The moon is crescent right now. And that little
Wow.
crescent moon. And we're watching the sunset, dude. So even more synchrony in that. And then this one goes like this. Okay, I have like 10 minutes before the Sangha as well. Card number 16, so two along. Harmony and right action are the core meanings. And I'll read just the reversed one. And then I'll read the little sunset prayer. Do not blame others for what you have created. Meditate on the cause of your pain and then release it.
acceptance.
Acceptance. Damn. Okay. And the poem goes, I forgive myself and all beings for any misthought word or action that occurred in this day. I acknowledge that the universe is unlimited potential and all is transpiring in perfect divine order in my life at this time.
Yeah.
Thank you, homie, for making this stream such a special one, dude.
Thank you, homie, for having me today. Thank you all.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends, for making this space something that is now seen, experienced.
Magical.
Magical, yes. Human connection. Meltmore's magic show. Ain't magic cool? It really is. Actually, like, our friends are losing their minds about the cards as well. So flippin' wholesome. Thank you for this exchange, the scientists. I have really enjoyed this, you guys. What a beautiful way to spend a couple of hours on a Sunday. Love you. Thanks so much. Yeah, I started the day with love. Seek these feelings IRL. This is real life, dear friend. It's not as intimate as we would like for it to be, but this is real life. These human connections now will only remain a thought away. Right? All of us, no more than a thought away. Insane card, big melty. What the actual magic cool? How about that? So much love. I have so much fun watching what happens here. Adam, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, friend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again,
Thank you.
Adam. I appreciate you like overcoming the inertia, accepting this space, you know, and
Accepting
embracing it
it.
so beautifully.
Acceptance.
I love you, friends, dearly. We'll see you soon. I have the Sangha in like 9 minutes or something. If some of your friends want to join me, I'll be posting the link in the Discord. I'll play the drum. I'm going to play the drum. I don't know if I'm going to be good at it, but I'll play the drum for 4 minutes and 44 seconds. And then I'll stop. And then we can meditate. And then we'll chat. Love you. Thank you for joining me. Cheers, cheers.